This is Africa Weekly Record. Verified developments and context. Week ending 15th March 2026. This week's headlines looked separate, but beneath them ran the same story. Oil shock, sovereignty pressure, debt discipline, climate exposure, and the shrinking space African states actually control. Short blurbs across the African continent this week. And this week, the smaller stories still pointed to the same bigger pattern. South Africa intercepted Chinese-linked fishing vessels in its waters. That is not just maritime news. It is sovereignty, resource enforcement, and the policing of economic space. Rwanda's outlook revision matters for a different reason. Ratings shape borrowing costs, investor confidence, and how expensive stability becomes. Ghana's reparations diplomacy raised one more lesson. A UN route creates pressure, but not automatic payment. Political recognition and enforceable money are not the same thing. And across trade governance, UTO reform blockages continue to matter for African states that still operate inside rules they did not design. Different headlines, different sectors, but the same underlying truth. The continent's real story this week was the struggle to widen room for action inside systems that remain structurally unequal. Oil jumped amid the current Middle East conflict. Africa wins? Not for most states. For many import-dependent economies, higher oil means higher inflation, tighter budgets, and less room for rate cuts. Across much of Africa, higher oil is not a windfall. It is a policy constraint. South Africa summoned the U.S. ambassador after rejecting external claims about white persecution. This is not just a diplomatic row. It is a sovereignty story, and a battle over who gets to frame African reality. Gabon has formally requested a new IMF program. That matters beyond one country. It shows how even post-coup governments still return to the fund for stability, credibility, and access to financing. Ghana is taking reparations into formal UN diplomacy, but this does not mean instant payouts. A UN vote is politically powerful, not self-executing money. The real story is leverage. Historical justice is entering formal diplomatic space. This week's headlines were not only events, they were signals. Signals about energy exposure, narrative pressure, debt dependence, climate vulnerability, and the cost of operating inside systems African states do not fully control. That is why Africa Weekly Record exists. Not to repeat headlines, but to slow them down, trace the structure underneath, and ask what power actually looks like. Context before conclusions.